going on, guys? It's your old pal CHH. So I've been, I wouldn't say hard on Scream Factory, but I've just been making my stance known about some of the things that they're doing right now. I'm not a big fan. But that doesn't mean that they've been very influential on not only the movies I like, but my collecting. And I wanted to do a video talking about 2000 Scream Factory titles. Now, what does that mean for me? Look, the bottom line is this. For a lot of people, 2000s means 2000 to 2009. And I guess that's for me too, but I'm not going to do a 2010 to 2020 video too. So if it's after the year, if it's from the year 2000 or higher, it's in this video. And I was actually excited about this because this gives me a chance to talk about some titles that, quite frankly, I have not really talked that much about. So without further ado, let's just get started. Let's start right here. This is a remake from 2002. This is the Blu-ray of Ghost Ship. And this has one of the greatest opening sequences of all time in a horror film. Ever. I really like Ghost Ship. It's not great. There's the three remakes. There's Ghost Ship. There is 13 Ghosts, which I forgot in the stack. I can already tell. And then there's House on Haunted Hill. I think the fan favorite is House on Haunted Hill. I would agree. But I think all three of them are good. Ghost Ship's not a bad movie. It has a 10 out of 10 opening and then like a 7 out of 10 movie. 6 or 7 out of 10. But it's a great Scream Factory Blu-ray, and this came out during the pandemic era, so a lot of the special features are Skype calls and things like that, but I feel like they should be doing more of that now to cut down costs of getting special features as opposed to not having stuff like they're doing. I mean, it's kind of pathetic. Here we go. I'm already ragging on Scream Factory. Regardless, I like this movie, Ghost Ship. Get this Scream Factory Blu-ray. It's a good movie. Let me go grab 13 Ghosts. All right, guys, so here is 13 Ghosts. I was mega excited when this got announced. 13 Ghosts is great because of two words, Matthew Lillard. Here he is on the back. I did a review of this Scream Factory Blu-ray when it came out. Titles like this, I think I'm just good with Blu-rays. You know, if I get upgrades down the road, I'll cross that bridge. But the Blu-ray era of Scream Factory really was the golden era because they were doing really nice slipcovers with new art that you got from the beginning. I'm not going to hate on Scream Factory anymore. Let's just show the titles, Christian. Calm down. This is a really fun movie with creepy characters. If I ever do a video store memories video, I'll tell you guys about my history with 13 Ghosts. And if you're a dude, you probably know what it is. But yes, great movie. I love 13 Ghosts. It's sensational. Next up, this movie's got a fan base. Drag Me to Hell. I saw this in the theater, and at the time, I didn't know what the hell I was watching. If I would have known this was a Sam Raimi film, it would have made a lot of sense. But at that point, I think my only Sam Raimi experiences were the Spider-Man movies. But it's pretty good. I like this movie. Theatrical cut taken from a 2K digital intermediate. It's very entertaining. But I feel like sometimes it just makes you want to watch Evil Dead. But that's neither here or there. There is a fan base for this film, and if you don't own this film and you like this film, the Scream Factory Blu-ray is great. I don't know how many special features they added on this. Yeah, they do have new interviews, composure and everything. So next up is a movie called The Editor. Now, this was really cool. It took me a while to warm up to this. I didn't love it the first time I saw it, but it's basically a new age giallo movie. It's an homage to giallos big time. And it looked really good. So The Editor, I got this 2-3 years ago. Check this movie out if you have not seen it, especially if you love Italian horror. Next up, this movie was incredible. This came from the IFC Midnight, which we need to talk about this soon. IFC Midnight just swapped from Scream Factory. Now they have a deal with Vinegar Syndrome. Scream Factory no longer has the IFC partnership. Very interesting. That means Human Centipede Vinegar Syndrome box set incoming. Get ready for that. This movie was very uncomfortable, but very enthralling. If you have not seen this and you like a great psychologically gripping, intense, uncomfortable movie, get Rent-A-Pal. Really good. Next up, controversial, but it's the 2000s. We have the Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2 Scream Factory Blu-rays. I think these are somewhat still available. They put these in like weird little multi-packs now that might still be available, but these releases are pretty expensive now, especially if you want these slipcovers with them. I pre-ordered them at the time. And it's really interesting, guys, because, you know, not for nothing, you know, this has new interviews with director Victor Salva. You know, and this came out in I'm looking for a date, 2016. So, very controversial that they actually had interviews with Victor on here, you know. And I remember watching them, and he just looked like a creepy guy in those interviews. He just looks like a creepy dude, you know. But that's neither here or there. If you are a fan of these movies, check Amazon. They may still be available, but if these aren't available, I know there's some kind of multi-pack thing that are the Scream Factory Blu-rays that you can still get. Next up, Valentine, and it's a fantastic slasher. I do like this movie for real. Valentine is from Jamie Blanks, who also did Urban Legend, and I think I actually prefer Valentine over Urban Legend. But this is a good movie, and again, a great release. I like this artwork. Some of the better artwork that Scream Factory's done for this era of movies, and that Cupid mask on that black outfit is very creepy. Next up, I reviewed this early last year, maybe? I can't remember what year. I know it's like a year old. Awesome movie. That is Wes Craven's Cursed. This is starring Christina Ricci, and she is just beautiful. I love Christina Ricci. She's still gorgeous, and I love the stuff she's doing in movies now. But I liked Curse. It's a mess. It's a big, 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 big mess. But somehow I still find it very entertaining, and I like the cast. And I also really like the werewolf played by Derek Mears, and the werewolf flips off the camera. It's hysterical, and it's a good-looking werewolf. I mean, you can see it back there. So Christina Ricci's fantastic in this. Please get this movie. I love it to death. Yeah, I love it. It's a mess, though. This is my favorite movie of the 2000s. This is Silent Hill from Scream Factory. This is the best CGI horror film I've ever seen. This movie scares the crap out of me. Made me lose a ton of sleep when it came out. A ton of sleep. I was begging for mercy after this. I saw this movie for the first time. And it's always going to affect me. So I love Silent Hill. This Scream Factory release is a must. I love it. Next up, this is a fan favorite. This is The Rise of Leslie Vernon's Behind the Mask. I thought this movie was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen while I was watching it. Then I realized what was happening at the end. I don't want to spoil it in case you haven't seen it, but this movie is stellar. I mean, quite frankly, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon is just a stellar movie. And it's like a faux documentary type. It's a class all of its own. It's a genre all of its own. Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon is damn good, and I absolutely loved it. Just love it. So get this if you don't own it. I want to give a shout out to the Dawn of the Dead remake. Now, this has a 4K UHD, which I picked up, and it is a very, very good transfer. But if you're not 4K, this is perfectly fine. This is a 2K digital intermediate, and it looks good. Looks good. Very action-packed, very, very great. I like it as much as the original. Sometimes I'll say, no, I prefer the original. Other days I'll say I like the remake. I'm feeling pretty tied today, but I think it's great. I really love the Dawn of the Dead remake from Zack Snyder. And until this day, it's still my favorite Zack Snyder movie. So Dawn of the Dead 04. Next up, I was super stoked when this came out. House of Wax. Super fun 2000s horror slasher. Takes place in New Orleans, I think. Obviously, we got the great Paris Hilton in here. And she does do an interview, and her interview is hysterical because she's in character. But it's a great movie, very entertaining. It's got my boy Jared Padalecki in it. Can't say enough good things about this movie. I think it's good. I think it's really good. So, yeah. I remember at the time the reputation was disgusting on this movie. People were joking about it because there was Paris Hilton in there. But I actually think that this movie is solid, really solid. It's a really fun slasher film from the 2000s. Let's talk about The Strangers. This is the Scream Factory release of The Strangers. This was a surprise title. I didn't think they would get something like this, but quite frankly, I'm glad they did. This movie scared the piss out of me. When I saw The Strangers in the theaters, guys, I'll never forget, people were running. This is the only time in my teenage years that I remember going to a movie, besides Paranormal Activity, where people were running out of the theater. I mean, getting up and they couldn't take it. Gasping. It was incredible. This is an amazing movie, and I like the sequel, but I think the first one is truly scary. And I get that the second one wasn't really trying to go for that, but you know, this is like the Halloween of the 2000s to me, The Strangers. I just think it's incredible. Next up, a little love to Eli Roth. We got to talk about The Green Inferno. I love this movie. I don't think it's as good as Cannibal Holocaust, because it's obviously some sort of a soft remake. But this movie's mean, really mean, and it's brutal. And I think they used real tribesmen and stuff in this movie too. But there's new interviews on here and everything. It was a good release, and this movie holds up. I think it still holds up too. So if you haven't seen The Green Inferno, just bite the bullet and get this Scream Factory release. I think you'll really like it. And I like it when they do releases from this era. So yes, this movie is great. It's probably my favorite Eli Roth film. This is cool. It's a slasher film from the 2000s. 2008's The Hills Run Red. Very interesting time. And it's a charmer. I actually thought that this was a pretty fun little slasher film. it would fall in the middle line to have a decent little fan base if it came out back in the 80s. But I think it's a pretty damn good little slasher film with a creepy looking character, and there's some nice gore in here. So David Parker directed, 2009, not 2008, excuse me. But this came out, and I feel like it kind of went under the radar from people. They were like, huh? But I remembered renting this back in the day at Blockbuster. So yeah, get this, guys. This is cool. Support these kinds of titles for sure. That way we can get more stuff from this era. Coming up next, we've got Bubba Hotep. Now this, of course, also got a Blu-ray, a 4K, but I don't need to upgrade. I really like the artwork on this Blu-ray, and I think that this movie looks good enough on this Blu-ray. Some stuff I don't need to upgrade or don't want to. I'm really happy with this Blu-ray. I'm a big Bubba Hotep fan. I think it's really funny. I think Bruce Campbell is incredible playing Elvis, and I like the zombie cowboy that you'll see at the end. Fun movie. I think it's really fun. So, Bubba Hotep. Next up is a movie called Bones. This is a Snoop Dogg movie from 2001. I really don't think this is a very good movie. I'm not a big fan of this. It's no Tales from the Hood. It's not an anthology, but it doesn't have that charm, you know, that Tales from the Hood has. It's a little slow, so I don't really recommend this movie, but if you are a fan and you didn't know about this, there you go. You can get Bones from Scream Factory. Next up is a movie that is worth it just to listen to the music. Beyond the Gates, Barbara Crampton film. This does not have the best acting. It's shot well and everything, but there's a Outrun of the Dead song is the name of the song in here. It's incredible. The music in this is sensational, and you need to see it just for that. Another IFC title, so Beyond the Gates. Coming up next, guys, still the best release this movie's ever had, Trick or Treat. Is this going to get a 4K? Maybe. Watch it get one this year. Will I upgrade it? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I just know that I love this Scream Factory release. Probably some of the best art ever done for a Scream Factory title. I think it speaks for itself. Look how great that looks. I love the pumpkins, the look of Sam. I love the, Dracula kid. This is incredible. You definitely need this. And then, of course, like on all Scream Factory titles, you can reverse the art to the theatrical. But man, look how beautiful that is. Just stunning. Coming up next is a movie that came out a few years ago called Camp Cold Brook, and it's got Danielle Harris in it. This is a found footage type movie, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. So, a really fun little found footage movie with Danielle Harris in it. And she's good in this. She's really good in this. So I actually highly recommend Camp Cold Brook. This is not an IFC title. Who is this? Renfield Productions, Octane Entertainment. There you go. Next up, this movie's incredibly disturbing, and I love it. The House That Jack Built, Matt Dillon. This movie is intense, incredible, and really darkly funny. Pitch black humor, but I really like it. House That Jack Built. This is not for the faint of heart, but I think it's incredible. Coming up next, guys, is Slither. This movie is absolutely out of this world good. It stars the great Henry from Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, and he turns into this thing. This movie is bonkers. This is James Gunn. I love it. I absolutely love this movie. It's like straight from the 80s, but it came out in the early 2000s, so 2006. It's undeniable good. Coming up next, guys, is Willard. The Crispin Glover remake from 2003, 4, or 5, something like that. Really good. Crispin Glover is really sympathetic and likable in this movie, and there's a eerie, creepy, dingy feeling to this entire movie, but I really like it. The Willard remake I like as much as the original, if not more. Really recommend this. This came out a few years ago called Relic. This Scream Factory just put this out. This is a great movie. It's part possession, part haunted house. Incredible movie. I thought this was just a solid, beautiful 9 out of 10 movie. Loved it a lot. So yeah, big fan of Relic. Really good, like really good. And last, I just revisited this movie the other day, The Rental. I loved this movie. I really loved The Rental. Great cast. You've got your boy from The Guest over there. Kid from Shameless. And just a creepy ending. I really liked The Rental. If you haven't seen this, please check it out. I think you'll dig it. This came out a few years ago, 2020. So like I said, these are movies that are from 2000 up, and I'm calling it the 2000 Scream Factory titles. So guys, if you have any questions on those, I have Eight-Legged Freaks too. I don't know where it's at. If you have any questions about those titles, guys, please let me know down in the comments section down below. And if there's some that I'm missing that came out from the 2000s up that I don't have, please let me know, because I want to support everything that Scream Factory does from that era, because I want more. Like, there's so many stuff. They can do Hostel. They can do, I say they can. I hope they try to do Hostel and things like vacancy and titles like that. I think there's a market there, and people are ready for that era of movies. So let's do it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. It's your old pal CHH. I'll see you guys next time. Huge giant thank you to all of my Patreon supporters. Without you guys, this would not be possible. To get behind the scenes photos, videos, music, private live streams, and much more, you can subscribe to my Patreon for as little as $1 a month. Thank you to my patrons.